Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today it's going to be another fix-it video, another video where I buy something faulty off eBay and I'll do my best to fix it. So let's open this up and see what we've got inside. Now, like I say in all these videos, I'm not an expert at these repairs. I just do this just because I like trying to fix things. Obviously, the more I do, hopefully the better I will get. But the things you see in this video may not be the correct way of doing things, might not be the safest way of doing things, might not be the best way of doing things. There might be far better ways. Now, I'm not sure. Hold on. I've ordered up quite a lot recently, so I'm not always sure what's in here. Right, a load of rubbish, which is annoying. I hate it when sellers do that. They do it as packaging, but basically they it's just a way for them to get rid of their rubbish, and a lot of business sellers do that nowadays. Right, okay, let's have a look here. But then again, some people will say it's recycling, so that's fine. But the problem is sometimes you can get it where half your recycle bin is full, not from a small package like this, but normally with good packaging you can kind of reduce it down to not a lot, but with other things you can really tell it's just a way of them getting rid of their rubbish. Right, okay, well, it's certainly well packed. I think I know what this is now. So if I'm right in thinking, this is a 2DS with a 40 card slot. Now with this one, it was bought from a business seller who specialises in gaming things, so it's definitely not going to be an easy fix. Well, I mean, it might be an easy fix, but it's unlikely, because obviously if they specialise in it, then they're going to know most of the common faults out there. Right, okay, so we've got a little charger, which is useful. It's not the proper Nintendo one. Now, I've already done a repair on one of these a little while ago, and it turned out it was a faulty screen, a cracked screen. But with this one, it's supposed to be a card slot. And I'm looking in there, and there's actually pins missing. Right, okay, so if I look in the slots here, you can see there should be pins going right the way across, and there's not. So that's a bit annoying. I thought it was going to be bent pins, and my intention was, when I looked at the listing, that I was going to take it apart, unsolder a couple of tabs, pull it back, and then try to get the pins, you know, in the right place. But looking in this, it looks like the pins have been completely not bent, but actually missing. So that looks like maybe it's been possibly been looked at before. Right, that's a little bit of a shame. I'm just going to have a quick look here out of the camera. Oh, hold on a minute. Maybe they are. Maybe they are just bent. Right, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to put a game in there, because if I put a game in there, I'm going to bend the pins even worse. Looking at that closely, I thought they were missing, but they're not. The ones that you can't see are actually lying flat. And then we have a few that are vertical, so the ones that you can see are vertical. I'm just going to get my Nintendo DS and have a look at that, and then I'll show you what I paid for it. I just want to compare it to what it should look like. So I don't know whether they should be vertical like that, or they should be all bent. So this was the one that I changed the screen on. This was another trying to fix video. Right, okay, hold on now. Let me have a look and then I'll show you guys. Okay, so they all look like they bend over. Right, let's have a look here. Do you know what? I really can't make out what's happening here. Right, okay, that's what this one looks like. Let me get the angle good on the torch. Okay, so you can see in there. And that's what this one should, that's what it should look like. So okay, that's not going to be quite as bad as I initially thought. Well, I mean, it might be, but it'll probably need a replacement card slot, which you can buy. I need to look into it more, but when I bought this, it looked like they were about £10 from the UK, but then you can get them from China for, I think it was £2 with free postage. I have to double check that. So in an instance like this, it might actually be worth getting the Chinese one, but then again, you might get what you pay for. I don't know if they're the same one, or whether the £2 one is an inferior one. It's got an aftermarket stylus here, which doesn't fit very good, but from memory, I think when I got this, I got a couple of styluses, so hopefully I should have one of them lying around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I paid for it, and then we'll quickly turn it on and make sure it's working. So this is the listing here, and if you have a look here, it says Nintendo 2DS with Mario Kart 7 installed, 40 card slot. And then it's got plenty of pictures. It's been described really well. There's loads of pictures to look at. And it says here, welcome and thanks for looking at my listing. To start, what you see in the pictures is what you will be getting, so have a good look at the pictures, see if you're happy. Please note the console does not read games as the cart slot is broken, so it will need replacing. However, you can always buy games digitally from the Nintendo eShop. The console plastic shell has scuffs and scratches, particularly to the back. Both screens do have some scratches. Please look at the particular listing. I've tried to show the imperfections. So you're going to be getting a 2DS, charger, SD card, stylus and Mario Kart 7. So yeah, I mean, you know, completely honest listing, which is nice. Let's just see if we have got this SD card, and we have it here. Right, okay. Let's turn this on and see what's happening. Yeah, okay, so it's all appears to be doing what it should be doing. So I'm not going to give it a full test now. I mean, I'm hoping that you know, the seller before has tested things, but you know, first impressions, it does seem to do what they said. There's no point in me even putting a cartridge in the slot, because I can see that there's definitely problems in there, and I don't want to make it worse, because when I push in the cartridge it might be bending them more. So let's take it apart and see if we can find out exactly what's wrong with this cart slot. And I forgot to mention what I paid for it. So it was £24.99 plus £4.99 postage, so you're looking at £29.98, just under 30 UK pounds. So by no means was it cheap at all, because remember, you can buy these brand new for, I think it was £79.99. But you know, it's not a bad price. Remember, Mario Kart 7 comes with it as well. That's quite an expensive game. So if I can get it working for, you know, like £5 or something, then it's going to be well worth it. Right, okay, let's take it apart and see what's what. Okay, so I'm just going to be fast forwarding through the dismantling of it until we get to the card slot, and then we can see what's happening with it. Right, okay, so I've got the main board out now, so hopefully I won't damage anything. I'm just going to put a bit of tape over this speaker here, just to stop it flapping around the place. And now what I'll have to do is, I'll have to unsolder a few connections here, so I can basically peel off this metal sort of cover, so I can get a closer look at the pins in here, because obviously there's solder down to each of these and I can't actually see what's going on inside there. So what I'm going to do is unsolder this, and I'm going to undersolder this one, and this one, and I'm hoping I'll be able to then just peel it back from this plastic case here. I'm not sure if I have to unsolder these as well, but that's what I'm going to be doing. Right, okay, so I've got my soldering iron here. I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to have it set to 380, and we see how we get on there. So that's this over here, this is here, and what I'm going to be doing is, because I want to unsolder those pads that I showed you earlier, I'm going to try and use some desoldering wire, and I'm going to soak it in a bit of flux to hopefully help it get rid of these the solder off this these pads here. We're at 380. So what I've done is I've gone for quite a big tip on here. This is a brand new tip, brand new soldering iron, because I'm new to all this, and I've gone for a bigger tip because the pads here are quite big, so I want them to, you know, I want all the heat to get pushed onto it. So I'm just going to hold it here, see what happens. Okay, well, I can definitely see solder come through there. So that's good. Hope now when I take this off that I don't rip the pads off the actual circuit board itself, because it doesn't seem to want to come off now. Let me hold it there a while. There we go. Okay, let me rub that back and forth. Go on to a new bit. Remember, don't copy me because I don't know what I'm doing, as anybody who knows what they're doing can tell. Right, okay, well there's definitely solder that's been removed off that. Let me try another bit here. Hopefully there's still flux on it. Maybe not, maybe I've burnt the flux off. It's probably best if I was to cut this wick, because I can actually feel the heat coming right the way up the copper, and in doing that there's going to be less heat getting put onto the actual solder, isn't there, because it acts as a heat sink. That one's not doing it. Let me put some more flux on there. Also, let me zoom in as well. Right, okay. Let me put some more flux on here. Right, I can definitely see solder through the braid. A bit of solder anyway. Need to get myself a fan if I'm going to be doing more of this work, because these fumes are bad for you. I think I'm going to up the temperature a little bit. I'm going to put it to 440 and see if this works any better. Right, okay, it looks like it helps if I actually melt the solder with the iron to begin with and then put the wick on it. No, I might be okay with them now. There's definitely solder off there. I'm going to leave that for the time being. Right, let me cut that little bit of wick off and then put some more flux on it and do the other side. Okay, well, I definitely got bits of solder off. It doesn't look as clean as I wanted it to, but there's definitely solder on the braid there, and also the bit of braid that I removed. So hopefully it will make it slightly easier for me to take this off. Might not, but hopefully it will make it a bit easier. So what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to kind of start to pry it off while heating it up. So let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to need to get something to pry it upwards. I'm going to go under here where there's no components, and I'm just going to lever it up like that while heating it up, and I'm hoping that that might then break that one from the board. So I'm going to heat it up again now. I think that's lifted. Yeah, excellent. So that one there has actually lifted, that first one, and don't think I've done damage to the pad underneath. So now I'm going to try to do the same with this one at the bottom. Then I'll do the same around the other side. Doesn't appear to be lifting. I'm going to leave that for the moment because I don't want to break it more than it's broken already. Let me try this side now. Okay, so that one's gone as well. I can feel that that's lifted. Seems to be still a lump of solder on that one there. So let me get the wick back on that. Bit of flux as well. Okay, that appears to have lifted that one. I'm not sure about the two pins below. I don't know whether they lift now or later. I'm not sure. The temperature even higher because it doesn't really seem to be melting it. Right, okay, it's at 480, which looks like this is the highest temperature that this one will go. There we go. Right, that's off there. Right, okay. Let's see what happens now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start peeling off this plastic from the peeling off the metal from the plastic, and then hopefully I will then be able to see the pins. Still not sure about these two bottom ones here, exactly what they do. It's something I can pry it off with. Here we go. Right, okay. Now, hopefully, I can lift that back. Brilliant. Right, okay. Good news, I think. Right, if we have a look there, you see the pins are all in place. They're just all bent up. So, I need to work out how they exactly go. I'm thinking, looking at these ones, that the nice ones... Can you see these look like the nice ones here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These ones all look damaged. That one looks good, and these all look damaged, and that one looks good. So, if you have a look, you can see that they are all. Can you see they're kind of bent in on themselves? It's so hard to see through the camera. But I'm wondering whether I'll be able to just straighten each one of them out to make them look like that. So when the game cartridge goes in, it just touches the pins, but then, because it's got these bits here, it allows it to go back out again. Not quite sure how it got in such a state. Would it be from trying to force a different cartridge in there, or maybe putting it in back to front? The thing is, I didn't think you could put it in back to front. I'm not sure how they get so bent up. Maybe it's a slightly dodgy game cartridge. Maybe if the metal dividers, sorry, the plastic dividers between each of the pins on the game cartridge were a bit bent, maybe they would drag up the pins rather than it working nicely. But anyway, to me, I'm really pleased that that came off. I know it took absolutely ages, but you know, it did come off. I'm left with this plastic bit here, which obviously has to go somewhere. Now hold on one second. Right, it came off this side here because luckily the flux has made it all stick, so I'm going to have to give this a good clean if I do get these pins fixed. So that must go. Oh, okay, it goes there like that. Right, okay. Right, let me not worry about that too much at the moment, and I won't worry about that, cleaning it up until I get these pins sorted. Right, okay, I'm going to just try to sort of bend them back into shape. Hopefully I'm not going to snap them in the process. I'm going to turn off the soldering iron for the moment because I'm not going to need it for a while until I get this fixed up. God, this back one here is really bent up. Maybe I should leave that to the end until I get a bit of experience with them. So on these plastic bit here, on every single damaged pin, the plastic's actually broken as well. So if you have a look here, can you see on the the good pins. You see that there's like plastic there. It's like plastic to sort of protect it and feed it onto the gold, but on these ones here they're all damaged and missing. You can see them there better. You see all these here? In fact, they all move. I wonder whether that plastic's supposed to move back and forth. Yeah, the plastic seems very brittle. It seems to be moving. I don't think it's designed to move, because if you look at this one here, then the plastic on that one's not moving. But on these ones here, it just seems very brittle, and it seems to, you can see it's just coming away. See? So I think that's just all snapped off rather than supposed to be wobbling in there. Maybe once they're bent up, because the plastic's missing, maybe they're going to be prone to always getting bent now, even if I were to straighten them up. Right, so I'm going to do my best now just to straighten them all up. There's really no need to watch me do it, because it's going to take me absolutely ages. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to try to straighten up the bends and try to get them back into position. I'm definitely making progress. I've got a couple of games here, 3DS and a normal DS game, the older one, and the pins look to be the same. So what I've been doing is I've just been bit by bit working on them to try to get them all to be the same level. Now a couple of them have got little bits that are snapped on them, so basically if you kind of look, I mean, I've still got more work to do, but you can see they fold over on themselves, but this one here doesn't fold over, and I think the end one I just need to do more work on, because I think it's been bent too far up that way. But one of them definitely won't bend over. But yeah, so when this goes in here, the idea is, you see that each of those pins there has to make contact with the metal contacts in here. Yeah, I don't want to do it too much because I haven't finished yet. But that to me feels like there's a lot of pressure on there, so hopefully they will be making contact. I'm not going to know until I finish bending them all and then giving it a go, seeing if it works or not. So I'm going to still continue on with this. When I was putting the card in and out, there should be a little metal thing that goes in between here and here, and it's sprung across the room somewhere. So now I'm going to have to spend the next possibly hour looking for that. So I'm just going to turn the camera off, keep looking for it, and then hopefully I'll find it. Right, luckily I found it, and it didn't actually take too long. It only took a couple of minutes, so that was really lucky, because you can imagine something so small will be hard to find. Right, I think before I lose that again, I think I'm going to try to put this metal thing back on, and just to see what it kind of feels like when I, you know, put the game in and out. Right, so it feels a bit sticky. That could be just because of all the flux. So I'm going to clean off the flux first, and then see. See, I'm not going to know until I turn it back on whether those pins are making a contact or not. Okay, so I've got some cleaner, so this is good stuff now for cleaning off the flux, because I believe it's not a good idea to leave flux on the board. Okay, so the action is definitely not as good as it should be, and it's because of those pins that are broken. So remember, it should be like this on the metal contact, but some of them are not. They're just like that on the metal contact. So obviously when it goes in, it's scraping it off. So I suppose if you were to do this like hundreds of times on the same game, you could get to the stage where you could scrape away the contacts there. Right, okay, let's try to solder this back on and we'll give it a test. I suppose really the sensible thing to do would be to not solder it back on, to put it together and test it, but realistically I'm not really going to be able to do much more with the pins, so I think I'm going to take a risk. To me it looks like they're all making contact. I just sort of want to tack it down to begin with, so then I can add like a nice lump of solder onto it. Because with all the bending there's quite a lot of, you know, it's wanting to spring back up. Right, hopefully that's going to hold, so now I can do a nice bit of solder on it. Didn't actually mean to put so much on it there. Tip's a little bit big for this, but I'm just going to see if I can do these two tiny pins. I think that might be it. Right, apologies to all of you guys who know how to solder, because you're going to look at this and probably think it's disgusting, but remember, I'm still learning. Right, well it's, I think it will do. I don't think I've bridged in between those two little ones there. Right, so give it a little clean up again, and I'll try the game on it. Okay, let's try the game. That's pretty nice. Right, okay, so I'm happy with it in that, you know, I like the way it came off and I kind of like the way it went back on again. Obviously, I don't know if those pins are going to be any good or not, but they're definitely obviously better than before because they didn't work before. So we'll put it back together and see it. I mean, they certainly, in my opinion, seem to be making contact just from the way it feels and the level of them when I bent them all back. But obviously that means nothing. I need to put it back together and actually see if it is going to work or not. This is a good opportunity to clean it, but it all looks pretty clean, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it as it is. I think I've got everything back together, so I'm going to put the back on it now, and then we can test it once I've done this. Here we go, the moment of truth. Let's turn it on, and then we're going to put a couple of games in it and see what happens. Right, okay, so it's not turning on. Let me just check the battery. I forgot to connect something up on the inside. Right, okay. Have to undo it all again. I forgot to do that camera at the back, but would that stop it from turning on? Oh, of course it will, because it's no, it's not. I was going to say that's for the battery, but it's not. That's strange. Well, I'll connect it up and see. I can't see how that would stop it from connecting, but you never know. No, it's not turning on. What have I forgotten to do? Slightly worried now. So I can't see any ribbon cables undone. I'm going to undo the ribbon cables at the bottom again and push them in again, just in case they didn't make a contact. Could be that sleep button there. That could have been it, because that was jammed. Right, okay, hopefully it was the sleep button. This little button down here was kind of jammed. I didn't put it in the board correctly. Try it now before I put it all back together. Yes, it's working now. Right, excellent. Okay, let's turn that off. Just make sure the sleep's working. Yeah, that's what happened, is the sleep button had gone over, and when it's over there, obviously you mustn't be able to turn it on. Just going to try that. Right, so sleep button over. Yeah, it's not letting me do it. Right, okay, at least I know now. Let's put it back together. Cheaper game to begin with, because just in case it does something wrong. Oh god, right. Okay, I need to take it apart again for the volume slider, because when I put it back together, the volume slider has now slid out. And it's not working. You can see it's not going all the way down, so the volume's down. Right, just because curiosity's got the better of me, I actually want to see if it does accept the game. I still have to take it apart, but let's just see now. Excellent, look at that. Don't know whether it's going to work yet, but it's definitely recognised it up here. Right, let's try the more expensive game now, Super Mario Bros. 2. Check it out, look at that. So it is reading the games. Right, okay. I don't mind taking it apart now because I know now hopefully it's going to work. Obviously I don't know whether all the pins are contacting, maybe just a couple of pins recognise the game and then you need more pins throughout the game. But it's a shame I have to take it apart again. But you know, I checked for the volume slider the first time I took it apart, but I didn't check that second time I took it apart. That's on it now. Volume's now working. Right, okay, so just make sure it feels okay. That seems to be okay. Let's now plug in a couple of games. Excellent, let's recognise that one. Right, while that's loading up, I'm just going to see if I can find a better stylus for this. Right, okay. I have got this one here. Wrong colour, but it fits better than this one because this is all chewed up. Okay, well it appears to be working. Yes, game. Excellent, it's there. Right, well there you go. It appears to be working. I mean, I don't know whether more pins are used later on in the game or whether it's just all the pins from the beginning, but it definitely appears to be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the game in and out loads of different times, you know, about, well, I'm not going to do it too much, but maybe 5 times in each game just to make sure that it is definitely reading it. Appears to be working just fine. Obviously if you were to take them in and out 1,000 times it probably will fail. It's not going to last as long as the card reader did before it was damaged, but who knows, you know, like how. Okay, so what I've done is I've connected up to the internet and I'm just going to check on the eShop just to see if there's any of the if anything's been downloaded onto it before, see if I can download it again. So we go all the way over to settings and other, then go down to re-downloadable software, right, okay, select the updated software you want to download, titles you've downloaded. Let's have a look what's here. Right, okay, so I've got Mario Kart 7 which is already there, but I've got this one here. Let's see what happens if I do that. Purchase titles can be re-downloaded at no extra cost. Right, let's see. Welcome version. I don't know whether this might be just a demo anyway. But it would be nice if the previous person had a load of games, then I'm thinking you would just be able to re-download them and you'd have those games. So that could be a bonus. I'm not sure about that. Maybe maybe not, maybe if they log in somewhere else then those games have gone. But I don't know. Right, let it just do its thing for a bit. Also I tried a charger as well. Let's see if that's working. Yeah, it is, yeah. Right, it says downloads complete. I mean, it appears to be working. Obviously, I don't know anything about that game, and I don't know, it might be just a... it might be just a demo anyway, I'm not too sure. But if that is the full game, then obviously that's an added bonus as well. Right, okay. There we go, let's get rid of that. So overall, I'm really happy with that. £30 for a working DS with Mario Kart. Obviously the game card reader is not going to last as long as a brand new one or a fully functioning one, but it seems to be doing a job at the moment. Perhaps after prolonged use you might end up getting certain scrapes on some of these ones here, and it might render the game cartridge unusable. I'm not sure, I will only know that after long-term testing. But if it was to go faulty, then it's not the end of the world. You can buy a new one of them for £10 from the UK and I think £2 or £3 from China, and it would be quite an interesting challenge to you know, solder that into place. So overall, very happy with this. Quite a nice fix. It would be nice if I could have got the pins perfect, but you know, when something like that breaks and you try to, or when it's bent out of shape, when you try to bend it back into the shape, it tends to snap. Maybe if you added a little bit of heat or something, they might bend easier. But I think things like that, normally they're just made to be in a certain position, and then once you start moving them, it's very easy for them to break. So overall, I'm actually happy with that, and it's worked out a lot better than I thought it would. And I got to do a little bit of soldering as well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe for more trying to fix videos and also how-to videos as well. So that's it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Bye now.